Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. Today I've got this North Star. It's broke. Guy brought it in, said it just, the score motor runs and runs and runs. Beyond that, I don't know. I think I'm gonna, I talked to him a little bit about doing some cosmetics. I think we're gonna redo the pops. They're not horrible. Some of them are red and some of them are still that ivory, which I absolutely detest. Game's pretty dirty. The rubbers are just horrible. These legs, bathing, so evaporust would probably go a long ways, make them really pretty good. You know, kind of typical stuff with the shooter rod. Somebody's painted the coin door. I hate that. I'm half tempted to strip that off. I don't know. These little corners, Steve manufactures these or has them made, and they just like pop on. I get a pair of those. That'll make that lockdown bar look a lot better. The game's just kind of got the tar stains on the sides. Back glass is kind of halfway fallen out, but otherwise it looks pretty. I mean, the red's a little bit kind of pinkish, but not too bad. This consider a pretty good, one of Gottlieb's better wedge heads. So without further ado, I'm gonna stand this thing up, get the head on there, get the glass out, and open it up and kind of plug it in and see what we got. Here's some various stuff I found in the back of the cabinet. For one of these white rubbers, that's like a 5-inch rubber. I don't know if I have any 5-inch rubbers, so I may have to order some special rubbers. Broken set screw, a couple of nickels. So this might have been a nickel game back in the day. Don't know. I left the two back legs off to put the game on a sawhorse. I'm gonna go ahead and stick this right now in some evaporust and get that cooking. Just let it set overnight or over the weekend. Heat up a little buddy. Put a cap on there so it doesn't evaporate, because it is evaporust, you know. So I'm locked out of the door. So just get it like, I don't know what the size this is, a little 1/4 inch, something like that. It's about as easy as that. So let me show you. In a small bit works better because basically you drill right through there, and the screw that holds this pawl on pops off. So you don't have to drill the whole thing, just drill through that little screw, and it probably inside here on the floor. Anyway, I'm in. All right, so let's take a look inside. See some old coils, old sleeve, 30 cents. There's that screw that I just drilled out. There's a bulb for the play meter. That's what the play meter say on it. 846. Yeah, 84,000. That's not a place. Doesn't look too awful bad. Kind of sooty, but not rusty. Let's look in the back box here. I didn't plug in the Jones plugs because I'm just have to unplug them again because they're pretty dirty. They're going to have to get cleaned. Let's just check out this unit right here. See what. Well, it's free. It is. If you zoom in there, let me see. It's pretty grody back in there. Yeah. Pretty dirty. Yeah, just like everything's very sooty. So things like the score meter says, it's had a lot of plays. The Playfield looks pretty nice though. I'd say somebody kept it waxed. It's waxed right now. They've got this, I don't know what that is, some kind of tape to protect the center here. I guess it did its job. It's kind of ugly, but anyway. Well, I think I'll plug this sucker in. Actually, I'll just throw the Jones plugs in there real quick. plug it in and let's see what it's doing. He said it was running on. It may be as simple as a score reel. I don't know. All right, I plugged in the Jones plugged. I plugged in the plug. Let's turn it on. Geez, where's the, oh, this one may have the, doesn't have it on and off. It just, you kick the bottom to turn it off and you just start again to turn it on, I think. Yep. But what's it doing here? Not very much. Well, let me open it up so you can see. When I hit the start button, the score motor makes one turn and it runs one of these relay banks, or both of them. I don't know, we'll see. So it runs this, then does that bank, and then does that bank, and that's it. Maybe we're in a game. Nope. Yeah, these pop bumpers are pretty ratty looking. I remember now that the skirts are all eaten up. I think we just do all new. That's what I'm thinking. He said so this was the guy that brought it in. He had this as a kid. So this is some of his scores on the side of here. And I think this guy's like my age, a little younger. He's giving this to his kid. So I think he wants it pretty nice because, you know, it's going in somebody else's house, not his house. Anyway, so it's not working. That's all I can say. It's not trying to run the score reels. So I guess I'll start where I normally start, where I normally say I'm going to start anyway. I'm going to clean the Jones plugs. I'm going to clean all the switches, check the fuses, fuse holders. The fuse holders look okay, just eyeballing them. Clean all the switches, clean the Jones plugs, adjust all the switches, and see if we can make a little progress. Just for fun and to kind of measure our progress. So I just went through the Jones plugs. We'll see if that made a difference. Then I'll go through the switches. Then I'll go through the units. So I'm gonna turn it back on here. Well, actually, all I gotta do is hit the start button. No change. So I've done nothing except a little preventive maintenance. So let me go through the switches. Just got through going through all the switches in the bottom of the Playfield, or bottom of the cabinet. Now I figured I'd check the fuses. These were all fused correctly. This one had a 20 instead of a 10. That had a 20 instead of a 10. And this one also had a 20 and it was blown. And this one was kind of a little bit loose. And these are actually, the fuse holders are still good. They were just kind of splayed out. So I am going to just tighten them up a little bit and put in the proper fuses. And I don't know, maybe I'll try to boot it without a playfield. I don't know if this game will boot without a playfield. Some will, some won't. Okay, so I got this fuse replaced. I'll plug it back in. And let's see. Oh, now I got nothing. Great. Bet that line fuse. I pulled him, put him back in. I might have broken a fuse. That'd be my guess. So I've got AC voltage coming in on, this is the plug across those two wires there. That's 110. I don't have a 110 across those two fingers. That's the bottom of the coil or the transformer. Ultimately, that's what it should go to get through. But it's got to go through several switches to get to there. It's got to go through this one. This is the kick switch on the bottom of the playfield. That it is passing through there. I measured there. I think there's also probably one of these, basically a kill switch that's on the bottom playfield. Yeah, look right there, a slam tilt. Well, no, that's normally open. That wouldn't be it. It'd have to be a normally closed one. Well, maybe that's not it. There's one on the coin door here that's normally right there. And that's a pretty stiff one. That could be our problem. I don't know. I might grab the schematics and track this down. Well, I went and ahead and plugged in the playfield, and apparently there is some kind of a anti-cheat switch on there. That might be, no, that's flipper switch, I think. Right there. Yeah, the flippers are kind of funky on this one, where they've got the little arm that actuates the flip on the flipper on the flipper switch on the playfield. So, but anyway, I'm right back to where I started. So I haven't made any progress. I've done all the switches down there, which should have been probably I missed the problem. It's unlikely that it's in the head, but I haven't done the head yet, and I haven't done any of this yet either. But I don't think that's going to fix the issue. Could be one of these switches in the trough, and it's not seeing the trough, but it's not running any of the score reels. I do have lights in the score reel now. That's kind of nice. But anyway, I guess I'll go through the switches in the back box, clean this unit here, and maybe we'll find something. I actually didn't have to adjust a single switch. Everything looked to be adjusted. I cleaned them all, so I'm kind of getting pessimistic about an easy fix on this one. Just going through this bonnet use unit, and I realized that coil stop is the little bolt. The coil stop is actually in there on the other side, but the bolt and the nut has sheared off. It still operates. Hell, it might have been like that for a long time, but that's not the reason why this game's not booting in any case. But I need to get a new coil stop for that thing. So I was playing around with this, and I'm gonna start it up here. I was noticing that this first relay here, the tilt one, it's actuating. If I try to open it up, it's going right back. So I was looking, that tilt bob's not touching, but this is that roll tilt. That ball is all the way forward. So I think I've got it tilted because I've got the sawhorse under here. So I'm gonna have to jack this thing up a little bit higher. And these problems I could have been having could be just because I don't have enough rake on the game. So I'm gonna jack it up a little higher and see if that gets rid of this first problem. All right, so I got a 2x4 under there, and that ball has moved to the back. Let's see what happens now. Okay, so this is the problem he was describing earlier, which is a much more common problem, which the game's not resetting. So, you can't even see the score reel. So I need to fix this back glass. I think, I don't know if he took it out or somebody took it out. So anyway, the brackets for this back are in here, some hardware. So I'm gonna get the back glass mounted back in there, and then we'll go from there. So I got the back glass mounted in there and these brackets in here. I went ahead and put the score reels to 0. I'm gonna start it up again. This score reel is definitely messed up. The plunger is depressed in there, and I couldn't get it out easily. So, but anyway, I just want to see if it will get a little, if it'll start a game, if that's the entirety of the booting issue or not. So I'm gonna try to start right now. Well, shoot. Sounded like it ran the solenoid for the trough there. Let me put the playfield down and try this one more time. Okay, one more time here. No, that's not coming up. Oh, there's a ball jammed in there. All right, one more time. I think I got the ball jam out of it. Oh, I got a point when I was messing with it. Let me get this to 0. As soon as I got that center score reel to 0, the squirrel motor stopped running. Something's happening in the back box, but okay, the 10 point's working. I think that, yeah, the 1 point score reel is not working. See if it rolls over to the 10, to the 100. We'll just see if the 1,000 point light comes on for fun. Yes. All right. And a knocker. So, ooh, there's a 100-point light right there when lit. I think that gave us a 100 point, didn't it? It sure did. So the 1 point, the 5 points, all the, yeah, this score reel here is messed up. Here it is, 1 point relay. It's running this, but this is, yeah, when I pulled that apart, I don't know if it's hard to even see in here, but that, there's a coil. If you can see down in there, that plunger is all the way depressed all the time. So it's not coming back out. So I'm gonna tear into this and see, it's probably broken parts, be my guess, or a broken spring or missing spring or something. So I tore into this, and the plunger is, I pulled it up and now it's free, but if you push it all the way in, it will, well, sometimes it will stick. Now I'm filming, it's not. Trust me, there, it's stuck down in there. So I don't know, I'm guessing the sleeve is all malformed, or the bushing is messed up, or the plunger itself is all mushroomed. I'm gonna take this coil off and take a look at everything and swap out that sleeve at a minimum and see if I can get that thing to operate reliably. That's what I see when I took that coil stop out, that little hunk of metal. I think that's what it, I don't know where that came from, but I think that's what it was jamming up against. It felt like there was something, if you pushed all the way down, it was jamming, like something. I think that little piece of debris is the problem. So that looks like part of a copper washer or something, or I'm not sure. Let's go in the trash, a new sleeve, and I think that'll probably make it work. Oh, here's, I was gonna put that coil stop in, and this is the back side of it. So, yeah, that little piece of copper was underneath there, and that whole metal top is failing. So I'm gonna get a new coil stop for sure, because that is just, no way, no. That's just, it's gonna happen again. I'm sure Steve's got one of these things. Just for fun, I'm gonna jump ahead here, and I'm gonna see if I can get this tape off of here. I've got some freeze spray. Oh yeah, it's gonna come up. Yeah, not too bad at all. That's the only problem with this is just clean underneath. But clean looks better than that nonsense. Kind of cold. About out of freeze spray here.
Yeah. I see why they put it there.
Yeah, I got nothing but air. It's basically duster stuff, so it's, the propellant's pretty much gone. So I'm gonna go get a fresh can. Well, Jane took all the fun and already ripped it off, so she said it was floating there. She takes all the credit for everything. So, yeah. Ooh, now I see why that's there. They had a center post. Well, I'm sure Jane can fix that. I'll just, since she's tore it off. Since she tore off the Band-Aid, she can fix what's underneath. Just for, I was looking at it, it had a huge gap. So it's supposed to have a post down there. So we'll just put the post back in there and that'll cover up the holes. I don't know if it'll cover up all three.
It'll be great.
I think it will. It'll cover up most of it. The issue will be finding one of these silver chrome looking posts. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find one of those. Maybe if I sweet talk Steve, he'll give me one. I don't know. I bet he's got one up there. probably got 7 of them. I'll see how much he likes me if he'll give me one. Got some parts in from the Pinball Resource. Got the bell ringer for the back. Yeah, the kids are gonna love that. The grandkids will anyway. Flipper plungers, some flippers, some new bolts because I twisted one of them off. Those little white things there. Replace those dull looking yellow ones there. Coil stops and some pop bumper parts. So I'm gonna reuse the caps because those caps are actually in pretty good shape. They're just a little dirty. I'm gonna rebuild the bottoms and put new skirts, and they're supposed to have red skirts, like 3 of them in the back. And these dead pop bumpers, they're out of stock. So but those are actually in pretty good shape. So I'm just gonna get those rubbers off there, and the caps to them are in the bottom of the cabinet. So I think what I'll do, start with is put this bell on and get these coil stops for that score reel and see if I can get this thing working. It's been a couple weeks. I put that old one in here just so I'd keep track of it. And so I'm gonna pull this stop out and replace the actual stop on the coil stop. There's a new one on the right and the old one on the left. As you remember, that little sliver had fallen down there and was getting jammed in the plunger. So I think that's going to fix it. All right, I got this one's reel all back together. I did have to adjust that setting right there, which that basically determines when the plunger goes, how far it goes one way versus the other. So you got to adjust that kind of so it will click, because it clicks both sides. So there's a click, grabs a pawl, and then it releases on the other end. Another pawl goes in. So you adjust that screw back and forth. One will make one pawl easier to click, the other one will make the other easier to click. So you want it right in the sweet spot so they both click, 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 click. So I had to redo that because the old plunger, the coil stop was smashed, so it was going further than this one is. So anyway, I'm gonna throw this in here and hopefully this game will boot up and maybe play. Well, I didn't have that washer and seat clip on there, so I threw that on there real quick. All right, so here's nothing. Oh yeah, this one, you just gotta hit the start button. And it's running on forever. Great. I'm gonna have to open it up. I got the balls jammed in there. I can't even move this. All right, so just off camera there, while the score reel is going, I believe it's this one here. Reset the score reels and the motor stopped. So I'm gonna try this again. I got them all back to 0. I think we're in a game. Let me see if I can. And one score reel is working. So let me get another ball up here. So it's rolling over the 2. See if I can find something more than, here's 5 points. Uh, 10 points when lit. So let me do this one. Oh, so the alternator's going back and forth. Okay, so this 10 points is going back left, right, left, right. That bulb's not working. And it rolled over the line. That's a long ways to get up to 1,000. Huh. Oh, I see. So you light those light these for 10 points, and those all work. Special when lit, 10 points. I don't know that everything. Ooh, 100-point shot when lit. Well, how do you light it? I have no idea. Well, it's mostly working. So, well, actually, I need to get all my 5 balls. I'm missing a couple balls here. And a couple more balls over here, so if we can get to the end of the game. I can't see. Y'all definitely can't see. There's 2 balls in there. Let me get some more balls, see if this thing will end the game and start another game and reset the score reels. 3, 4, 5. And I heard it run, and I think that's it. Oops. Oh, I still had balls. I didn't need to put those in there. Yeah, but the game's dead. It's game over. So I only needed 1 ball in there, not 3. So, okay, so at the end of the game, I don't see a game over light. Oh, there's a 0. That's a 0 for the match. So game over lights burn out. They're always burn out. No surprise there. Let's see if it's, I'm going to hit the start button and see if it'll credit up. Or see if it'll reset the score reels. Okay, so back where we are. So the score reels are not resetting. That's probably not such a big deal. Here, I'll show you what I did last time. Not that one. So this is that's the reset right there. There we go. It's all 5s, which is 0s in the front. And now we're in a game. Scoring points. So pretty close, actually. If we get the score reels to reset, I think we'll be in business. And in terms of the logic for all the lights and all that nonsense, probably need to get some bulbs swapped out in here, and maybe we'll do some work on some sockets so I can actually tell when they're actually on or not, or when they're trying to come on. So I may go ahead and just strip this playfield and kind of work on the cosmetics for a while. This noisemaker. This is what we really need to get on here. Yeah. So this thing hangs in kind of like that, the back side of here. I have to take this apart and look at it a little bit better, but it bolts in there. This is a custom-made part that Steve has made up for these games. Pretty awesome. I'm just using my eagle eye, kind of line this thing up how it's kind of, you know, that dinger dong's got to hit the bell. So I believe it goes just like that. So, and I believe it lines up with that slot if I put it on just on the inside of that washer right there. So that's where I'm gonna put it. So I've got this North Star mostly put back together. I'm still waiting for the skirts for all the pop bumpers. I don't know if I mentioned the fact that I did get some dead pop bumper bodies. I bought them from Canada. They're the only place that had them in stock, so I got some of those. I guess I got my red ones. I got some blue ones coming from Steve for those, so I guess I can't put these back together. So in the meantime, I've got all my flipper parts, my new plungers and links, because they're kind of sloppy. The old flipper bats, they're not awful, but they're very hard to clean up without losing all the ink off of them. And these stops, coil stops, they're kind of messed up, so I got some new stops to put in there. So I'm going to take all these old parts, because some of these are like that pawl that will get reused. I'm going to throw all these in ultrasonic, clean them up, and then put these new parts on the old parts and put them in the game. So I got all my parts back together. I got the new stoppers on there, the new plungers. Look at these old plungers, and they've been ground down once before. They're ready for the trash heap. They weren't in awful shape, but you know, if you're gonna go through it, these new flippers look a little bit better. These could have been cleaned up somewhat, but they're not gonna look as good as these ever. So I'm gonna put these flippers back together, and I mean the amount of slack that was in these, there was a little slack here, but there was a lot of slack there. You probably see it like ovalness. You can see that. Can you see that? I can see it. The hole's not really round, so there's a lot of slack in that dimension. Anyway, I'm gonna put these together, and maybe we won't play a game because still waiting on these. But I think Steve's shipment should be here maybe today. Is that what you're thinking, Django? Huh? Is that what you really think? So I'm also going to swap out these bushings And one of these springs is left-handed, right-handed there. So I like to put an L on one of them. The other thing I like to do is mark the screw where the spring is screwed into so I can get it in the same spot, get the orientation right. They're basically both pointing up, but that makes it impossible, well, almost impossible for me to screw up. I can still screw it up. So I got the flippers already built, and I was looking at the inner stroke switches, and I noticed this. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Factory, not factory. There's only like 3.2 strands of wire that are kind of like halfway soldered on there. So I'm gonna fix that up. That's kind of stuff gets callbacks. You always try to find everything that's wrong with these things, but you know, there's a lot of stuff to look through. I catch a lot of them. Sometimes I'll miss one. I found this one. That's kind of stuff. That's going to tend to cause or potentially cause a flipper to be a little bit weak, just from lack of not good continuity. Although you might not notice it, but over time, just the vibration, that's liable to just break off, and then the flipper dies, and then it's like, oh, the flipper's dead. And you know, so I'm gonna take care of that right now. So next, I'm gonna take apart every one of these pop bumper assemblies, which really doesn't require much, just those 2 screws, and this whole thing comes apart, and drop all the mech and the ultrasonic and put a new coil sleeve in there, and these things will fire a lot better. So I'm gonna take the 2 screws off, and I'll show you all the parts. Check those 2 screws out. That's what's left. The sleeve can just dump in the trash. Put a new one. The rest of this can go in the ultrasonic. I did take note on these coils, like that one sits in there facing to the right. I mean, the leads go to the right. So all the ones to the right, to the right of the playfield go to the right, the middle goes to the right, and the other ones go to the left. So that's helpful when you're putting them back, because like, so when you put them back together, those leads have to go to the left, or it's not going to go. The wires are going to be too short. So usually they all go straight off the back, but on some games they go out sideways. So you kind of gotta take note of how they come off, or you end up putting them back together twice. So I'm gonna take them all apart and throw all these parts in the ultrasonic. I've got these pops all put back together. All the important parts are nice and shiny. It's got a new sleeve in there, so nice and functional. So that one goes like that, and I'll mount these all back together when I put together the pop bumpers. But I'm gonna put the tops of the pop bumpers first, because the lamp leads will come through, and I'll get all those soldered up before I put these on the bottom, so they're not in the way. All right, so I got all the rest of my parts in, but I don't have all my parts, unfortunately, because this yellow one like that, well, I'll show you this way. If you see that's broken, I got the new one, and I got the wrong size, unfortunately. These things come in large, medium, and small, and I got the I thought it was a medium, but it's a large, so I'm gonna have to order another one. It's not a big deal, except it's gonna be put this off another week before I can really finish it up. I did get a post for here. What I did was I stole these 2, and I had some old white ones. Actually, I don't know if that's old or new, but anyway, it matches the other whites on here, which is good. So they look, and these are kind of oddballs up here. I wish I had that shade in the short one, but I didn't. It's a tall one, but I think it looks all right because it's right up there next to the plastic, and it's even flush there. So I think that's good, and it's really cool to have this one back down here. Somebody had already swapped out a couple down here. They had blue ones. So these chrome ones, metal, I don't know if it's chrome or nickel plated or what, but the only way you're gonna find one of these is on another game. I don't think anybody sells them or reproduces them, as far as I know. They're pretty awesome though. So anyway, I've got all my pop bumper parts here. I'm gonna start putting all these pop bumpers together. So I'll do one of them on camera and just kind of show you how I do it. I've got all these pop bumper rings. I've already run them through the ultrasonic, so they're kind of moderately clean. but they're not shiny. So I'm going to take them to the buffing reel and I'm going to shine them up. I'll do one of them real quick on camera. It doesn't take too awful long. So I ran those through the ultrasonic real quick, and they're like pretty much like new, nice and shiny. So let's build a pop bumper. Basically, two different ways to do it. You build it all together in your hand and then jam it in the hole. That's usually the way I do it, but I'm gonna just for clarity points, I'm gonna try to just build it in here. So the base of it, there's it can go two different ways. So these are the holes for the rings, and they can either go in those slots or those slots, but the raised ridge there, that is what the leads for the lights go through. So those lights, they need those room there, and those are the screw holes, and they go through these other sides here. So it goes like that, and then you put the spring on. Then you put the pop bumper ring on with the pointy end going that way. And if you're a real purist, this game wouldn't have had points originally. You can grind those off. I'm not going to because I like the pointies because it keeps the ball from getting stuck. And next you get a pop bumper ring. And then if there is a shinier side, I put the shiny side towards the player, but this one looks pretty good both ways. And that's not wanting to go through. I'm gonna bend it out just a little bit. There we go. And now we get the body. And there's a few different bodies depending on the year of the game, but really only a few. And so the little small nubs, that's what the lamp socket's gonna go through. So it's gonna go into, it's kind of obvious if you could see it better. It goes like that. And then we get the screws and put them in there. And let me find my screwdriver. Screwdriver found. Magnetized one is really nice. I probably should have put my lamp socket in there ahead of time because I might have trouble getting it through the holes. And if it's not screwed in, you get a little more wiggle room. And that's really the reason why I like to build them in my hand, because sometimes those lamp sockets are hard to get in there. We'll find out here in a second. Let me go get a lamp socket. I always use these wedge sockets now because they just hold the bulb much better. We'll see how easily, oh my gosh. These holes, wow. This won't even fit in there. Oh, geez, it's super tight. The mold must have grown a little bit. This may be a real pain to get in there, because then it hits the second piece and it's got to line up with the second one. I'm basically cutting a path through the top part. That's not going to work. My gosh, let me find another one. Yeah, these things are a little too narrow. I mean, it goes through, but it's basically cutting as it's going. Wow. So let me show the other way to do this, the way I normally do it. And the reason why I normally do it is because it's hard to get everything through at once. Let me take the screws out. Set those aside, take this off. And first get this passed through the two holes here. It's really not wanting to go. I'll have to get almost get a pair of pliers to yank that through. Okay, I've got it all the way in there now. And now I've just got to put it through the base. And hopefully I don't have as much trouble with this. Probably that one went pretty easy. All right, we're good. Put my 2 screws back in there. And then we'll go to the underside and solder it up and replace all the mechanism. Another thing that's really a good idea to do, I didn't do it this time, is go ahead and put the bulb in before you put this in there, because sometimes it's pretty hard to get the bulbs in there the first time, especially when you're using LEDs, because the bases are a little bit wider than the glass bulbs a lot of times. So it's kind of a challenge to get them in there. And the last thing you want to do is mess that thing up after you're done with everything else and have to take it off and do it again because you can't get the bulb in there. And I've done that because you jam it in and get one of those leads, you just jam it down the bottom instead of splitting it. And it's pretty much run, and you gotta start over with that pop bumper. And that'll make your day really happy. So we'll pick the Playfield up and we'll work from the bottom. Okay, so here's my 2 leads. And there's one of the wires. So I'm gonna go ahead. I always leave these leads I don't cut them until I'm done, because it gives me a good place to hold on to it without burning my hand to death. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a glob of solder on the new lead there, and then I'm gonna attach that wire to it, and then I'm gonna cut it. And on this other side, let me take you over here so you can see better. On the braid side is always more challenging because the braid's not gonna want to take solder very well because it's old and crusty. But I did leave the old, let me zoom in a little bit further for y'all. I left a little bit of the old lead there and the solder on there, so it's already there. And to help myself, if I can do it, I usually like to go ahead and tuck these underneath. And that way, about pulling that staple out. I'm gonna jam that staple. I'm gonna go get a hammer and put that staple back in there. But anyway, it basically holds it in place for you. So let me get something to beat on. There we go. So now, it frees up hand. I can hold the solder and the soldering iron, one with each hand, and get that point right there. This other one, the challenge on this one, if you get it too hot, it will run right, this fresh lead here, it will wick down right down the hole. So you don't want to get your iron too hot. You want it just hot enough to melt it and get it stuck on there. And then you want it to solidify quickly and not run away from you. So that's kind of the key to it. At least that's what I try to do. So I've got my iron set at 350 C. I normally with soldering something like this, I'd turn it up to 375, 380, something like that. But I'm trying to do it quick. So I never got things super hot. And I'm gonna freshen that up a little bit and drop that down into the uncovered cabinet. So that'll probably cause all kinds of crazy problems for me in the future. And that's a good solder joint right there. That's nice and strong. Okay, this other one I'm gonna crank it up a little bit more.
those solder braids are always, well, I shouldn't say what, usually difficult. So I'm going to start with the solder, put the solder on the solder braid and get it hot and get it attached. Okay, it attached pretty well. Sometimes it's very resistant to accepting the solder. So you see why I have that handle there. I can move things without frying my finger. So they're both on there solid. So now I can clip those and put together the bottom side of the pop bumper. So you can cut those with these little almost disposable side cutters, but it will eat them up. So you really need something a little bit stouter. And then figure out which one. I think this one goes there. And go through, let me back y'all up a little bit. Go through the metal and the fiber yoke. Oh, and on this one, you need that fiber yoke has to be on the back side of that, because when this opens, it opens that switch. So there we go. That's part of the reason it wasn't going together. I don't think I got through on the other side. I did not. Missed the hole. There we go. Kind of. There we go. Okay, we're in. So now it's just a matter of screwing everything down. 4 screws there, 2 locking washers right there. I get at least a couple screws in here real quick before it all falls apart. You want to make sure that your leads are not touching the frame of anything, and I don't think they are. This one's a little close. We'll tweak it down just a little bit. And we'll get a couple. I need to get my Sears. This one's too deep. I'm gonna go get my other one. These Craftsman nut drivers are pretty much, they're my favorites. They're real thin walled and they're not overly deep. They're just about right. I wish the shank was a little longer. They probably make some long ones too. I don't know. There's a lot of times when I've got a different one and I can't get it to work, and I get the old style Craftsman and they're good. So 2 more screws and this thing will be done. So lastly, you want to adjust these 2 switches. So this one here is essentially an end of stroke switch. When that thing opens, it drops the power. So you really don't want it to open too early. That one's opening way wide, so I could power it up a little bit just by bending that back so it doesn't open quite as early. That's a little too much. That looks good. And then this one is only supposed to close when this moves off center. It's already closed. And a lot of times when you rebuild these, you're going to find that these are locked closed. And I think the issue is the old ones, the skirts were just worn short. So it requires a little bit of adjustment to open this back up. And now there's a little bit of gap. I don't know if y'all can see that. If I get the light just right. Let me zoom in here. There you go. If I can get it in there. There it is. Okay. And now if I move the skirt with my other hand, I'm on the top of the playfield. And see, it's not really touching. So it's too far away. So, it's really a fine line, especially when you're repairing a game for somebody else, because depending on their level of knowledge, this thing can, it's okay, it's not working, or it's locked on, you know, or if it's pop, 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 pop kind of nonsense. And it's like I say, it's a fine line. That looks pretty decent. The other thing to do is make sure that that red, the shank of the skirt, that it's starting off in the depth of that spoon, which say it's in the middle of the spoon. A lot of times it won't be. It'll be off the center. That means you got to move this bracket here, which holds it, so that it's more, you move it a little bit and the switch opens before it closes because it's not centered. It's not in the middle of the hole. This one looks like it's in the middle of the hole, so I think that one's good. Good enough for now anyway, until we do some play testing. So do that 4 more times. And then the dead pop bumpers are similar, except they just don't have, that's not a dead pop bumper. Oh, it is a dead pop bumper. It's just, that's the scoring. It doesn't have the pop. Yeah. So do the same thing with the 2 dead pop bumpers, except you don't have the pop bumper ring or a coil on top of it. And then we'll be done with the pop bumpers. The pop bumpers, people don't like to mess with them because they are kind of a pain. And the biggest part of the pain is getting all the lamps done. But people, that's what drives people crazy. But in terms of time, it's really not. You saw how long it took to do the lamps. It's not that big a deal, but they're just a lot to them. And in a game like this with a bunch of them, it's some time. So I got all these caps, the top sides of them done. I've only got the bottom side done on this one that I showed you. I got the bulbs in there. On these rubbers for the dead pop bumpers, it's best to put that on there before you assemble it, because the bottom of that body is a lot smaller than the top. It calls for a 1-inch ring. You can get a 1-inch ring over the top, but it's tough. So I like to put them, when I get the opportunity, I like to put them on the bottom. So that's what I did with these. So I'm going to stop here for the day, and tomorrow I'll come in here and put the bottoms together of these, solder up all the bulbs, and I bet at least one of these won't burn because the way the bulb was inserted, meaning they basically, those wires, they need to be splayed out. I've shown y'all before. Sometimes they get mashed in when you're putting it through. I'll just pulling out those electrodes there and the wires there. They tend to get, the wire tends to get squished to the inside, so it's not on either one of those lower terminals. And that's a chronic problem for these 555 bulbs. I always try to like splay the bitter end out using saline terminal. The bitter end would be the end of a rope, end of a line. You get better odds of it staying on that terminal. Anyway, so tomorrow I'll solder all those up, and we'll see if they're all burning. And so this thing is almost done, with the exception of that. I still never have fixed the reset of the score reels. I kind of got sidetracked on that and just started working on the Playfield. So once I get this together, I'm still going to have some things to fix. So there's still some more fun to come. It's the next day. I got everything soldered up on the lights. I got the pop bumpers all put together. I haven't adjusted the switches yet, but I want to turn the game Playfield. I'd turn the game on and see if I've got lights to all of them before I go any further. So I'm going to turn it on here. Probably the game's not going to reset because it didn't reset the last time I turned it on. The score reels didn't, but maybe it'll get the lights to work. I saw a couple of them going for second. Let me just... one of these, I forget. There we go. Well, that was kind of interesting. And I think we blew a fuse. Awesome. Yeah. That's just great. Probably there's 23 metric pounds of solder that I dripped down into the bottom of the cabinet. Well, let's see what we got. So right away, I can just visually see that fuse is blown, that's a solenoid fuse. So the 2 light fuses, at least visually, they appear to be intact. I think they're good. So one of the solenoids locked on. Yeah. I hadn't ever got this thing fixed, so I don't know that I did anything worse, but it's definitely locked on if you like the F-14 game. I'm locked on. After pulling that fuse out of there, I was looking at the Playfield. I was like, oh crap. So I had never wired up I'd never soldered up the 2 lamps for the dead pop bumpers because I didn't have a pop bumper hanging down there to have to put together. So it was easy but the leads were sticking through. And so you got the 6 volts here and you get the 40 volts on that spoon. So there's a lot of potential to cross-pollinate the 40 volt to 60 volt to blow a 40 volt fuse. Also, potentially blow some bulbs if you get the 40 volts on the 6 volts. So I may have blown some bulbs. So anyway, I'm gonna put another fuse in here and try it up again. Just getting ready to start this up, and I was thinking, you know, I just told myself that I didn't adjust the pop bumper switches. I started a game. It's possible I had, well, one of them I adjusted, the other 4 I didn't. So I could have 4 of them locked on, and 4 pop bumpers locked on is probably enough to blow a fuse. So it may not have been this. It may just be the 4 locked on pop bumpers. So let me, and they wouldn't be locked on, but they'd be, because they should lose power as soon as they turn off. But just the instant all 4 of them pulsing once could be enough to potentially blow it, because it's a fast blow 10 volt or 10 amp. So maybe I'm going to adjust them real quick and then I'm going to turn. So sure enough, those 4 pop bumpers were all locked on. So or at least the switches were closed. I'm going to try it up again here. Okay. I don't think those are controlled lights. I think those are GI lights, but I am not positive. I thought I saw a couple of them burn for a second when the first time I did this. So let me see if I can well, I've got a 5-point switch closed somewhere. I can't see it. Those are, they're, racket. I can see them ghosting. So the bulbs are there. I've got a switch. It's a 5 points. Go. Yeah, I got 221 points. So I think they're wired up right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I bet those 5 like these 5. That's what I'm betting. I guess I could have hit one of them and seen. Anyway, I'm sure they're getting juice because I saw each of them twinkling, just ghosting, just vaguely with the pulsing of the solenoid voltage. So, and these were running. Wow, that one, is that just dirt? That's probably just dirt from my finger. I thought for a second it was burnt, but I think that just grunge. My fingers are always nasty. All right, so what to do now? I guess I can, I guess it's about time to fix this resetting of the score reels. So let's maybe dig into that. So I thought I'd start this by trying to find that switch that was closed, and it's this one right here. Let me get from the top. See how it's all the time. It's this one right here, and it says 5 points. It's also around the edge. So when I use these little things like that, depending where the Playfield comes down, it's really easy to smash one of those and get it out, get that out of adjustment. I probably did that. So I'm gonna bend it back, get it adjusted, and then see if we can get this going. It's just kind of obnoxious when that's running on it forever like that. Put it all the way down. Okay, now we're back to where we were, where it just runs on forever. So now I'm going to advance these to get to 5. Yeah, we're in a game. Okay. So this thing is, I'm going to hit some of these lights here, and that lit up, that lit up, that lit up, that lit up, and that lit up. And I believe, yeah, each one of these corresponds to also a light under the Playfield. So I think those two should be lit, but they're not. I guess this one goes back and forth, that red light. Yeah. So I think I got it. Whoa! I'm not hitting anything. I'm just touching the playfield. So very sensitive. I got switched too close. But so I mean, I don't think I've got all the balls in here. So, that was all 5 games, and apparently either I matched or I don't think I matched, but I might have got I don't know, maybe I think I got a high score. This thing says 1,000 points, but I haven't checked the Jones plugs. Anyway, it knows the game's over. I see the match light. Oh, I did match. 3 and 3. Yeah. Okay, so I matched. So that's cool. So this is, again, I haven't gone through all the playfield functions yet. Still waiting on these. I just got to get this thing to reset. Get the score rules back to 0. As soon as they get to 0, so this reset relay, 14E, which is DB. DB's right here. It requires, let me get over here, the 100 unit run out. So the hundreds needs to be back to 0. The 10s needs to be back to 0. And the 1s needs to be back to 0. Once it does that, once those are all closed at the 0 position, the DBs normally close, the reset relay starts, and it's going. Just to prove the point here, we start a game, let it run, and just manually press that DB and see what happens. Okay, the game's still running. That is the DB relay right there. I got my finger on it. I'm going to trip it. And that's the end, and that stops it. And now if I press the switch, we're in the game. See if our pop bumpers work. That one does. Cool. So all we need to do is get those squirrel reels to move to 0. Once they're, and I've already manually put them to 0, and that starts the game also. So the game knows they're not at 0, but it just doesn't know how to get them to 0. And once they're at 0, then it's ready to play. So we got to figure out what it needs to get those things to move to 0. And then we'll be done with the startup sequence. Then we can focus on all the little intricacies of 5 points when lit and all that nonsense. Just find a better way to maybe describe this using the schematic. So here's the motor. When you press the start button, it's running. That DB is normally closed, so that it's going from one side of the AC to the other side of the AC. That DB has to trip and open to open that circuit so the motor's not running. DB opens, if I can find it right here, when all the 1s, the 10s, and the 100s score reels get to the 0 position, and that's when it trips. That's when it engages and trips and goes to all other states. So that's when that energizes. So those have to get to the 0 position and close to energize that DB coil. So when your game stops, these are not closed when it's running, and then when they're all open, and each one closes when they get to 0, the 0 position. And all 3 have to be closed for this thing to trip. And then that opens up this switch here on the DB coil, and the motor stops. And that's what we're trying to engage. Well, I haven't got anything fixed yet, but I've had another step backwards. So this little janky switch here, I'm talking about a jerry-rigged deal. So when that, and that is the, what is that, SB? Yeah, that is the it's hard to see, but that's an SB, which is the start relay. When the start relay trips, get this out of the way, that switch underneath there, the one that's bridged across there, it closes, except just not quite. And that switch is responsible for, let me do it here, for powering, for resetting both these relays. Is doing it sometimes, but not all the times. I'll trip it. See, it did not go. I put a little bit of pressure back here. So I believe that was working earlier, and I don't think it's a problem. I think that just started messing up as I've been going through this. I don't think I did anything to it. I just think this is a common problem on this series of games. It's just, like I said, it's a janky, instead of, I don't know why they didn't put this switch up on the stack. So when this engages, but they did it down to here. It's like, oh, we forgot to do something. Let's throw it on the side here. I don't know. Maybe there's a good reason for it. I don't understand it. When this trips, that one goes, but it's not up here like the rest of them. Somebody tell me why that is. I say it's jerry-rigged. I can't stand it. But I'm going to try to adjust it here and get that working, because I was taking a step back. I had basically nothing was working. That SB relay, which is these switches are on, it is supposed to be, when you press the start button, it's supposed to switch over here and start the motor running. And then that switch, that janky switch I told you about, it's supposed to energize the reset for the whole bank and put it back in the normal position and energize the rest of it. And when it does do it, it is energized, because if I manually press like the M, which is like I think that's the ones unit, it will score. So there's power up here. So it's just not getting through this. So, but first I've got to get that switch to reliably activate. And I just cleaned it, and I bent it a little bit, and it's still not working right. I could see when this thing tripped. Here, I'll start a game. See it didn't go. Well, now I can't do it because that arm's not in the way. But if I press it, you'll see that arm will try to go. See, it's not working. So, got to get that far first. All right, I cleaned and adjusted. Let's see if it. So I'm gonna press the start button here. That second one in should trip. This should kick it and kick it all back out. So let's see. So watch that second one, and then that over there should be like boom boom. It did it. Okay, I saw both of them. All right. So yeah. And I was a little confused earlier because I was trying to figure out how to get power up here. But we have power up here. It's just not sending it. It's not directing it to it. I mean, actually we got power going through it. We don't know. I don't know that we got power at the coil. We got power up here though, for sure. That's all kind of in the same area. So we've got power up here. So we've got power to that. I said we don't necessarily have it here, but we definitely have it to add the ones unit. So the problem is right in here is it's not getting through. So I was looking at this, and it's like, is it the ones you run out unit? That could be the switch's problem. Is it the 10s? Well, probably not both of them, and definitely probably not all three of them. Well, oh, DB, it's probably just on the DB, but really that's three different switches, because one's got the orange and red coming into it, one's got green and red. So it's probably not three different switches on the DB. Motor 1A. I bet you that's it. So 1A, it's that bank. So, and again, I've said this before, that there is not the switch bank. That's the hole. The switches are pointing up like that. And then A is in the very bottom. So that's the stage, I call it. So it's the very bottom, which is the most fun place to adjust. And that's probably why I didn't get it adjusted well the first time. So I bet that's all their problem, is that switch. So I've got my schematics oriented the same way as up here. Get that little notch there. So one is that one there. So it's this one there. And A is the very bottom, that one there. So can't really see very good, but yeah, it's on that stack right there. So it's one of those, and if I really wanted to, I could figure out which color it is, but I think I'll just clean in just all of them. That'll be faster than easier. Before I clean this, I'm gonna just do one thing. I'm gonna start it up, and I'm just gonna push on the switch one way or the other and see if I can get it to work manually. and then I'll really feel good about it. You see that? I just put the pressure on it and that was it. So for sure, that's the problem. Okay. So I don't think those were ever working reliably. I think that one was, but that one's always worked better, and this one was just kind of like a tick tick, because that sound we went through just then, that really strong pop. I don't think we were getting that. I mean, y'all could go back real quick and look at the videos. I'd have to dig through my phone for 10 minutes to figure it out. But I think that was definitely part of it. And then this is surely part of it. So we're going to have this thing going here in about 57 seconds. I got that clean and just a little bit more. I got some points on the score reel. I'm going to press this button here and find it. We'll see what happens. Oh, hell. Huh. Whoa. Got a little fire going down there. I'll tell you what that was. That was it making a little bit. It did finally go. So there was still some gunk and oil and debris, and it was burning that off. I don't think there was any problem. Because it was coming right off one of those. I'm gonna get y'all in here. Let me see it. Maybe you can see. It's those. I believe it was those inner two. I'm not sure, but both. Basically, well, never done a very good job filming this. Wow, I've lost outside everything now. There it is. Those inner ones. You see how it's all oily and everything? I think it's burning off. It was arcing through there and smoking. They're adjusted pretty close right now, and I did file them off a little bit. I'm gonna file them a little bit more. They're just gunk. I may douse that thing with some alcohol. Then I get really good fire going. I usually use that 70% alcohol. It won't really burn. Definitely a place you don't want to put some contact cleaner on there. That will start a dang fire. I don't know if you can tell, but I cleaned that up considerably with some alcohol and a toothbrush. Best I could without taking the whole thing apart. And let's see if it'll start now. I put some points on here. Perfect. And we're in a game. So now we just got to load the Playfield and see if all the features are working and points are scoring. Okay, so let's go through and see what all is messed up on this Playfield. Maybe it'll all be perfect. Before we do that, let's diagnose this back glass. I mean, it's pretty bizarre, really. So, I mean, you got the beauty over here. She's self-sufficient. She's caught her own fish. She's got a dog/polar bear. This sailor, USN, he's serenading her. He's got a walrus in the background helping him out. And it's like her dad, maybe that's her boyfriend, running out barefooted saying, "Hey, honey, where you at?" And then you got this guy, Skipper. "Now hear this." Yeah, I've heard those words. And you got the North Pole. So, you know, he's like yelling at the sailor to come back. This guy's yelling at her to come back. And they're just like, they're in love and they're getting serenaded by the walrus. So, yeah, pretty silly. Okay, so enough of that. So I got my notepad and I'm going to go through and figure out what all's wrong with this. I just turned this on a second ago. I saw both these GI lights over here are out. And I think there's probably one up in there. No, there's not a light up there. Okay, both of those are working, and both of those are working. Actually, none of these inlane guides are working. 0. So let me start writing this stuff down. Okay. I'm going to say right sling, even though it's not a sling. Oh, it is a sling. Right sling GI. All the white inlane GI, every single one of them. That one's going, that one's going, that one's going, that one's going. Maybe those turn on and off, I don't know. So the inserts The greens are hard to kind of see because they're kind of dark, but they are going. And that red one, it goes back and forth. I've seen that go back and forth. All the white ones are going. I have seen those lit, playing around with it, but we'll go through it here. So when you roll over these, they like the pop bumpers for 10 points. So they all should be 1 point now. So I'm gonna do each one and see if it gets 1 point. Oh, yeah. This one here, it's got a hair trigger. I mean, that's our hair trigger. So I really probably ought to fix that, because every time we touch the playfield, it's going to do that nonsense. So let me fix the green one and I'll get right back to it. Okay, so now the score reels are still nasty. I still haven't taken them all apart. I've fixed that one, but I haven't cleaned any of them. Score reels, nasty. I got 1 point for each one of these, so these should light them up. And also it's given 5 points, and it is given 5 points. Those are extinguishing, and those are all lit. So these should all be 10 points now. I saw the 5 roll over to a 6. Okay, and I got to write down, I still need to adjust pop rings, or the skirts, I should say. I pulled them down so they weren't locked on, but they're pulled down too far. I need to trim them up a little bit closer. Okay, so I guess the goal of this game, like a lot of these Gottlieb's games, I think I was playing with this a little bit earlier, if you knock down all the rollovers, because when you roll through it, the light extinguishes. And I think when you roll through all of them, you light the special. And maybe the special goes back and forth. So let's just start with all the green. Maybe the green does one side and the yellow does another one. I don't know. I'm going to do all the greens. So that should be 5 points. That lit that special. It also lit that special. We don't have the 100 point lit. So that should be, I should have done this before I did it. So that should be 100 points and a special. I think that was 200. Yeah, it's doing 200. Maybe that light's just not working. Or maybe those are separate lights. Let's try this other one over here. Yeah, so, all right, saucer giving 200 with one light. Let's do the yellows, okay? Okay, that gave me a special, or a match. I might have got a high score or something. It also lit the other light. I need to put a ball because I'm not getting my finger out of there fast enough. So, fine. I don't know what to do. Oh, here they are. Okay, so 1182. 1, 2, 3, 4. 17. I think it's giving me 2 specials. I'm almost to the max. I think it's giving me like, okay, we're at 6 specials, so 6 credits. Yeah, 3 credits. That doesn't seem right. Okay. 3 credits in saucer. So I'm gonna restart the game here. I'm gonna just throw this out. I just want to see what this does here just by itself. Okay, 100 points. That's what it should be. 100 points in there. You get another 100 when that's lit, and another in the special when that one's lit. That's wait. Oh wait, that's 100. That's 100. And when there must be a light for the saucer. That's what that is. because that line is going through there like that. Now it's going to give me 300 now that I got 2 of them lit. Oh, that's right. It should be 200. What am I thinking? Okay, 100, automatically you get another second 100. So that's doing it right. Okay, and now I should get 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Got to read the graphics a little more closely. Okay. The issue is the specials. I'm getting too many specials. Okay. So this was lit, I think, when I got, I don't know why that's not lit anymore. I thought that lit when I did when both these got lit. And I've never seen that light either. I don't know if that switch is working. Okay, special switch. I'm gonna restart this again. Okay. I'm like 100. One of them's lit. Now 2 of them's lit. And this should be 10. And that should be 1. And likewise, this should be 1. And now it should be 10. That's working. I don't know. 10 points when lit. I don't know if those have lights underneath them. Oh, I see that now. That is lit for special there. Actually, this one is too. I can see it. I can see it. I don't know when that lit. You turn the overhead lights off. That would help. Yeah. Let's do this again. Lights off. Oh, that's a lot better. Okay. This will not start the game down here. I guess I figured you're going to have to go through one of these first. Okay, so that lit that special also. And this special is lit by the greens. Okay, so that makes sense. All right. And I have seen that. Oh, I bet that one is from the... Yep. And I earned a special. Oh, I rolled it, I think. That one. I don't think that one worked. I wasn't paying attention to what the score was, but I got more than 50 points and all that nonsense. So, the one light on score reel. Okay. Oh, I can see there are lights under those 2. Oh, they move. So the green is always lit, and these go back and forth. And I can hear by the change. And so that's working. That's cool. Okay, so I could scratch off a lot of this stuff on my list. I still haven't seen this. Oh! It worked. The bulb's not working. I bet that one gets lit when you do everything. And we got this one. Okay, so this one, rollovers. So they must be talking about these rollovers. So let's see if this one does. That gave me, I hear the crack. Okay, so that's working. So the special when lit, I think it's just special switch. I think it's just the light. Or the lamp, you might say. All right, so this gives me enough to start with. So I'm going to start with the easy stuff, the GI lights. There's only 2 voltages on this game. There's like a 6 volts for the bulbs and about a 40 volts for the solenoid. So I'm going to check one that's working here. And I'm measuring, oh, almost shorted the bulb. 5.5 volts. I got the leads backwards. No, it doesn't say negative. Okay, 5.5 volts. Now I'm going to go, that's one of the GIs that's not working. and I'm gonna measure it. And I got 5 volts, so it's just a bad socket or a bad bulb. I just put in a new bulb. It could be I didn't clean the sockets out as well as I should have. Okay, so that one and that one, I measured both of them. They both got 5 volts, so I just gotta clean them, new bulb and or new bulbs. These here are all, those are the ones under the rollover guides. And then I saw that earlier and I was gonna get back to it, and now I am. Makes me wonder if one of these is shorted out. Like, why would somebody do like that? Take it off? Is one of these? I'm gonna look at them closely. I'm betting as soon as I plug that in there, I'm gonna blow that, what is it, 10 amp fuse for the Playfield lights, or for the lights, and it's a good chance. So I'm gonna look at that real close. I didn't see anything foul, so I'm just gonna touch it on here, and we're gonna see if the sparks fly. I learned to like get my camera going before I do this. Oh, I can see the lights coming through the switch. See that? So I don't know if they're all working. I think they all are working. So I'm just gonna solder that on there real quick. All right, so those are all working. Unfortunately, I gotta basically take off all the posts to get to these things. It's underneath there. I mean, I could probably reach in there and grab it. Maybe I'll try to do that. I don't know. I hate to have to pull all those out and put them back in again. All right, got the new bulbs in there. They're good. So let's strike that one off the list. I was trying to find in the schematics the lamp for that special one lit, and I realized they're calling them button lights. There's the green rollover button light, and there's the left yellow button light, and oh, there's the right yellow button light. So those are those 3. This one, I can't find it. This is all the lamps here, except in this case. This is another kind of a jerry-rigged Gottlieb case. I remember under the Playfield, this one, I think it's controlled the solenoid voltage because they got a big honking resistor that was basically made in 1942, an new old stock when they put this game in the 60s. And so they're using solenoid voltage to cut the, whatever it is, 35, 40 volts down to around 6 volts. So when some solenoid energizes, it lights this light. So that lamp, I haven't found it yet, is on this side, because this is the 40 volts between that line, and this is the 6 volts between that line and that line. Then you can see, the 6 volts, it's only 25 volts. Yeah, okay. So anyway, I gotta find the lamp on this, and then we'll figure out, because I wanna make sure I get it energized so I can measure and see if there's voltage, because it's not lighting. It's got a clean, fresh bulb, and I'm messed with the socket. I'm thinking, I just wanna make sure I wanna get it in a state where it is supposed to be lit, and then I can go from. All right, I think I figured it out here. So there's the red rollover button light, and there's that old crusty looking resistor. I'll show you here in a second. So they're using the 0 through 9 unit kind of as a randomizer, and depending if you got it on liberal, it'll make it easy to to get that lit. If it's conservative, it won't. And I think these 10 through 13 sequences, I don't think there's a 1 through 5 sequence relay. So, and this is on 0 through 9, but there are 13 switches on the Playfield, and I know you have to get all 13 of them to get the one special. So, so that includes all those in lanes at the top, and then all the greens and all the yellows. So I think that's what they're talking about, the 13 switches. So depending on what switch it's in, and I think this thing is on, like, probably on conservative. Everything that could be hard on this game was on hard, including removing that center post. So it's probably on conservative. So it may have been it was working, and we just didn't. I needed to move the 1-point unit through all 9 positions, or all 10 positions, to get it lit. I guess on the most, so like on you're stepping up there, and if only if there's a line across would that work. If it's only conservative, it's, you know. I guess conservative, it never does. That's what it looks like to me. Liberal, it goes to that one, and that one. And the little less liberal goes to that one, and that one, and that one. And the other two don't look like they're connected to anything. Anyway, I'm gonna go through this again and see if I can get it to light. Well, here's the plug. The top is liberal, the bottom's conservative. There's two, basically passes through. And yeah, if you're in the bottom, you're not attached to nothing. Yeah, I guess, wait a second. There is one strand that is passed across there. I guess that's supposed to be like that. I don't know. That doesn't look quite normal. I'm gonna put it in the liberal slot. And I've got them all knocked down already, so I need to just, I'm on 9, so I need to just do one port at a time. See if it lights. I never saw it. Could be half a dozen. Let me check that dang resistor. It like I said, it's crusty looking. So this thing's supposed to be 75 ohms. Let's see what I get here. Oh, gotta turn the multimeter on. I am in horseshoe mode. Let me find a better place to measure. 5 ohms. Well, that should light or burn up. Yeah, I'm measuring across there. It's 5 ohms. That's no way, no. Probably burnt the bulb up if it did try to light, because that'd be way too much voltage going through there. Nope, the bulb was still good. So I don't know. Yeah, it says it's 75. It could be something else is in parallel. I'm measuring through that. And that resistor is actually good. Where's the schematics here? Yeah, if I'm measuring through there, I'm measuring through everything else also, because like that's in parallel with it. So it's probably good. I've got all this other stuff. You see what I'm talking about? If I measure, I'm basically measuring like that, which, so it includes that one. It probably includes that one. So anyway, it's not isolated. So it's probably all right. I could desolder it, but I don't think well, maybe I need to, because it could be open and I'm not doing it. I think I'll desolder it real quick. So I just snipped one end. I mean, these wires are like plenty long, I guess. So I should be able to go between there and there. That's mega ohms. It's open. Guess I'm not touching it well. Let me try this one more time. No, I think that's a bad resistor. I'm gonna pull it out and check it better. All right, so now I can get a hold of this thing. Yeah, it's toast. This doesn't really surprise me. I mean, it's, like I said, it's crusty looking. All right, so I need to find a resistor of about 75 ohms. Already got a new resistor in there. It's not a single, it's a 20, a 20, a 20, and a 15. Adds up to 75. And I calculated I need really 7-watt resistor, and those are each 5 watts. They share some surface area. It'll be fine. They share a surface area, so they don't emanate the heat all the way around, so each rating would go down a little bit. But anyway, it'll be fine, because that bulb's not going to go off for very long and very often. It is a special light. So let's get this in, pull the dang thing down, and let's see if it works. Okay, I just started up a game, so I'll knock down all the targets. Oh, it's already coming on, yeah. So 1 through that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Yeah. So it should go on and off. Oh, I'm hitting the 10-point switch. There we go. Okay. Yeah, cool. So is it going to give me a special? It did. Perfect. All right, knock that one. We're getting through this list pretty quick. Some of it we didn't really have to fix. Saucer gives 200 with 1 light. That's actually proper. So that's good. Squirrel's nasty. I'm gonna do that off camera because that's pretty boring stuff. Adjust pop bumpers. You've seen me do that before. 3 credits. That's in the saucer, and 1 light. I can't even read my own writing. I don't know what that says. 1 light on score reel. I don't know. Oh, the 1 light on the score reel. I was like, 1 light. There's a bunch of lights. Okay, the number 1 light. I got you. All right. So let's run this thing up. I don't think there's a 100-point shot in this game. I'm just going to have to beat it up with 10. This is going to be a good time to fast forward a little bit. Okay, this should do it. Hey, it did it. So that's working. I guess I just didn't get it up far enough, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I had 50 points when that was not working, but when I thought it was not working, I thought I'd played more than that. Maybe I hadn't. So that's good. Scratch it off. So just for fun, I put this pen in the most conservative position, and it is lit. But I think it's only 1 number out of the 10 on the 1s unit, so it's pretty conservative. So I'll leave it there because that's what it was when it came in. That's why I think Granddad wanted it. Dad or Granddad, depending on who's watching the video. What else? Too many specials here. We're at 13. Hey, it only did 1. It was doing 2 a second ago. Let me run it back down again. I can't get more. I don't think I can get more than 15. That did 3. That did 2. One, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I wonder if it's on the score motor. I think it's got 3 home positions. I wonder if that's, surely it's not on purpose. But I bet that has something to do with it. Okay, on this score motor, I would put an A, a B, and a C. I'm gonna hit this, like a 5-point switch, and you'll see it runs. It's got 3 different places it could stop. And I think I'm ready for. Okay, I am ready to score some specials. So let me get up to the A. I'll start with that. All right, I'm gonna hit the saucer on the A position. That was once. I'm gonna do it on the B. I think that was just once. C was twice. Let me do A again. Once. Bump, bump. That was twice. A was twice. So I think it's kind of a random thing more than that. Some of the games of this era, they had, depending on where you're at, you would get certain features were available, but that's not the case for the special. I didn't think it would be. But I didn't think it would be on purpose. But I thought maybe like one of these stuck out a little too far, or a little bit. The timing was a little bit different, and it would make it score twice. Seems like it's getting better, is what it seems like, though, because it was doing it every single time, and now by half the time it's only doing it once. Yeah, I think I figured out something. So I didn't really pay attention where these were plugged in, but these three were plugged into here. These are the high scores. So red or blue. These are all those two are red, and this one's blue. I should have looked where they were at. But after unplugging those, it's one crack every time. And I'm back up to 15. But I did it like 10 times in a row off camera just now. And so it's a combination of scoring here, and you're getting one, like 300 points, and you're getting another one for the replay. So that's why you're getting 1 or 2 or 3. I think because you're getting, it's every 1,000 and every 1,200. So at 1,200, and then at 1,400, and then at 1,500, and then at 2,400 and 2,300, or 2,200 and 2,300 and 2,000. So every 1,000 points, you get another 3. So, and this is 300 points. So, you do it 3 times, you're liable to have gotten 3 more right here. So I think that's all that was. So it's actually, as far as I know, everything's working. One last thing, though, I did notice, so I need to add it to my list. So I can scratch this one off, but it's not taking credits. So when I start a game, it's the only way it loses a credit is if I go in the back of the machine and manually take it off. So, except it just did. It wasn't doing that. Now it is. What the heck? I think it's, as Ronnie would say, it's Christining a little bit. I'm not going to cry about that. So that's pretty much it on the list, with the exception of the really boring stuff and putting on a couple more lane guides. Maybe some play testing. Have to do that. I haven't even ordered these yet because I just placed an order with Steve, and I try to limit myself to once a week. I can't be ordering things 3 times a week. It's just too much shipping. So I'm going to have to wait a little bit on ordering those. So I think this little video will sit in the back corner for a little bit. So I finished up on this game. At least I think I did. I'm going to throw these brand new balls in here in a second. Since you last saw it, I cleaned up the shooter rods, lock on the door. I was going to replace this plug. The piece of cardboard on the top was missing. I like the aesthetics of the old plug, and it's a two-wire system. This thing didn't have a ground plug in it originally, so I just potted the top of this because I like the old plug. What else did I do? I cleaned score reels, put the caps on. I'm still missing the replacement for these two. You can see that one's cracked and that one's cracked. I think those will probably come in today. But without further ado, I'm going to plug this thing in, crank it up, and put these balls in here like I'm a chef. Oh, it's magnetized. I always wanted to do that. They always put their spices in and stuff like that. Anyway, so I'm going to put you all on the stand. We're going to play a game and figure out what's working and what's not. All right, she's plugged in. Let's see if she starts the game. All right, I heard all the balls slide down. We could do multi-ball if we wanted to. This is the original. You put 2 balls, shoot them, 2 balls, shoot them. What do we want? Okay. This is literally the first game I played since I put it together. Okay, that 10-point lit. There's greens are hard to tell when they're lit with the lights on. It's really leaning light. Let me turn the lights off real quick. Yeah, now you can see I ran over that one and it went out. Oops. Manually put the ball up there. Okay, don't do that one today. Woo, that was a good save. Oof. And that's a massive gap there. So far, so good. Actually, I gotta stop doing that plunge. Oh, get in there. Get in there. There you go. Oh, flippers are pretty stout. You know, I just realized what Gottlieb did. If you want to get that 100-point lit, you've got to let it drain out either side here to get these hundreds up here. And that's where the points are at in that saucer. And there's no direct shot to it. I just realized that because you're going to clip that. So the only way to get it up there is shoot it up there and just let it bounce around. You can't go around here. You just got to get up there and hope and pray. But you got to drain the outlane first. Oh gosh, I did it again. Almost. Damn it. Easy plunge. Skillful plunge. Jeez, that sucked. Okay, I'm going to do a different plunge this time. Oh, geez, 2 weeks. Gotta work on that. Oh, I should have just let that one go and lit it. Looks my fifth. I think that was my 5th ball. Yeah, okay. Got a 7. So let's do this one more time here. So 288 was my score. I think you guys can't see the score rails. Oh gosh, I did it again. The first one, but I need to try not to do that. Oh, I got the ball saved. This game is hard. Okay, I'm gonna let it go. We're gonna go for the green side. How about that? Okay, that was a full plunge, and that was better. Not that one. Oh yeah. Oh, but it wasn't it. Still got 100 though. 100 is huge. 100 is 10% of getting that one up there, yeah? Ah! Oh, that's good. Okay, 451. Looks like I got 3 balls down the track, so I got 2 more. I gotta figure out how to do this. Oh, that's one way. Oh, jeez. Just a little more pepper. Yep, still works. Dang. Okay, that was 456. Better. Yeah, you don't get a match. I guess you tilt this thing, you probably tilt the game. It's over. You don't get any more balls. I thought it was gonna roll over and at least give me the because there's no bonus at the end of the ball. I thought it was gonna like give me a chance for the match, but no, you're done. You tilt, I'm on tilt. Your game's over. You lost your nickel. Okay, start over. All right. People love this kind of game in a tournament. It's always a beautiful lesson. I always tell people that It has to be learned. Everybody has to do it once. That light's a little flaky. I need to clean that socket or something, tighten it up or something. I just did it again. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oof. I'm gonna play a multiplayer game after this. Those two on the right are not easy. Oh, money. It's lit. Okay, so I got a 200-point shot either place there if I can get to it. I guess you've got unlimited tries here. That's not gonna do it. Ooh, that's nice. Those saucers they're like really guarded. You could take that post out and make it a little easier. Oh, there. I got a free game on that. Oh yeah, that one is it. So that one's working. So I got my two. So I'm gonna play one more game in multi-ball mode. I had a guy that was we were doing tournaments and he was convinced, had a Skyline, that he could play better, and actually he probably could. That if he did this in multi-ball, so you can put in queue up 2 balls. Queue up real quick. I don't think it's a good strategy, but it definitely works for him. Well, 253. That was pretty much the same as my first game, so it wasn't any worse than that. So anyway, I think I'm done with it. I'm going to do a couple of little tweaks on this thing, maybe play a few more games, make sure everything's good, and then I'm going to call this one quits. Hope you liked the video. If you do, click the like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Such a cool way to turn off a pinball machine.